Hey guys, Mike here. So, oh boy, what a day. And boy, Friday ended with a big bang. February ended with a big bang on Thursday, obviously. So it was a huge day, and what a way to start March. And so if you saw my video yesterday, you might have saw a few charts out there that people requested. But today we're going to talk about no matter what seasonality tells you, it is about what is currently happening. That's more important than anything else. Okay, so always remember that going forward. That's the way it is, okay? And what's really interesting, we'll look at IWM in this, is what's happening on this rally you may not even be aware of, okay? And then also, we're going to start off, I'm going to flip the earnings and the economic data to the front from now on in, but because something I'm going to tell you, which might make sense now, because guess what we got coming out this week? Unemployment rate. They're not expecting it to budge a single bit. Let me show you why it's not going to budge, okay? Now, getting into first the earnings, and then we'll get into some charts and everything that you may have never seen before. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of retailers, high beta stuff. You have C going on right here, but a lot of retailers, right? You got Stitch Fix. Some of these you're going to recognize like Neo. Then, of course, you'll have Target. And then we'll come over here. Big ones here, CrowdStrike, ChargePoint, Ross, Nordstrom's. Then we go over to Wednesday, JD.com. Maybe somebody will finally get some love right there. Abercrombie & Fitch, which has just been on a tear. Unbelievable. Foot Locker, Evego. Then you got Victoria's Secret, some more retailers right here coming down. Thursday, more all about us. Kroger, Big Lots, Burlington, BJ's, Bill or Billy Bill, whatever you pronounce that, PaySafe. Then you'll have Broadcom, Costco, Marvel, which is a semiconductor if I'm not mistaken, DocuSign, and Gap. And then Friday, I don't see anything that's going to affect anything. Then when you come up to the economic data, Monday, there's nothing to stop the market or move the market at all. So you don't have to worry about that one bit. Tuesday, going to end up with a lot of economic data, right? So S&P Global Composites information, ISM services data, whole boatload right there. Watch the PMI. Nothing else. One thing you will notice is a lot of Fed speakers. Once again, they didn't affect the market last week at all, even though rate cuts were pushed back again. Then Wednesday, you get ADP employment change and JOLTS on the same day, which I think that's a rarity. I swear, usually they come one day apart, but usually they contrast one another. That's why I seem to remember this one. Then nothing else. Thursday, going to end up with initial jobless claims, continuous jobless claims, and then really nothing else is going to affect the market coming out from that. And then Friday, that's when you're going to have earnings month over month, non-farm payroll, participation rate, and guess what? The unemployment rate, which you can see was 3.7, forecast 3.7, right? And here's one reason this is staying this way. Estimated excess retired in the U.S. Look at this chart right here. That is insane. Look at what it was going back to 2004 and look at 2024. I mean, that's one reason you're seeing a whole lot of job openings, because a whole lot of people took their money and they ran, and they also went through 2020 and said, you know what? Life's too short. I'm going to go enjoy it. That was one positive of 2020. I know I got that outlook myself. Let me know in the comments if I'm alone in that. The other one is, as of Q3 of 2023, the total amount of U.S. retirement market assets totaled $35.7 trillion. The largest share is in the IRAs, followed by defined contribution plans, and then government defined contribution plans. So not only they retired, got a boatload of money. If you compare that to 2000, 2005, 2010, 2015, way more money. All right, I mean way more. And so they got way more to live on. So they don't have to come back. All right, and so that's, I always say, look, the people with the appreciating assets, the retirement accounts, loving life. The people without them, hating life, okay? Been hating life for quite a while right now, okay? And so, this is why you're seeing the unemployment rate just stick to where it's at. It's why the economy is held up as well as it has, because people were retired because they can, and they got a lot of money in it, all right? And they got a lot, their houses are way more valuable than they used to be, all right? Now, that leads us into seasonality. What have we not seen? You didn't get to see this, right? You had like a 3% pullback at best, right? That has not happened. This, of course, doesn't have anything to do with presidential elections, but if you come over here, you can see this is the presidential election for the S&P 500, right? Not the QQQ, but there's where we're at. You didn't get to see any dips. You can look at any of these lines. They're either supposed to go sideways or down, all right? And you didn't get it. Now, can you finally get it in March? Sure, maybe it plays out because we've had a big run up, but it's going to take some doing, right, to have that happen. And so, again, it depends on what's going on. You got breadth is expanding out, which I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a second. But remember, you look at seasonality, it's just something to look at and go, this is what we might be able to expect. But you have to configure what's going on in the market. That's why, okay, November. We knew the fourth quarter was the best. We looked at things being oversold, and we got it. Are we overextending? Sure, we're well due for a nice little correction here, or a pullback, whatever you want to call it. But we're just not getting it because they're blowing up these semiconductors. Small caps starting to come into it. All these stocks that weren't participating are starting to participate. Now, please hit that thumbs up because it helps people find this video. And if you like financial content where somebody does not try to make themselves seem smarter than they are and talk over your head, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. All right, moving on. As I've been saying for a couple of weeks now, I said, do you really believe they're going to move us up this much and not have the NASDAQ composite set all-time highs, guys, which it did on Friday. It's been a while. Everything else has been set all-time highs, but they finally pushed this one up. And now what we're looking for is honestly on Monday to see if we can come back, retest it, turn it into support, because that's what every other index and ETF did that follows or tracks these indexes did. And so we'll see if that happens there. And when it comes to S&P, you're in this channel, you've been in since December, still got room to the top of this thing. You can see, I mean, who knows how long this RSI bearish divergence is going to play out. But you can see if it breaks above there and all of a sudden keeps moving up, if you forget about that, that's no kind of divergence anymore, right? So that's what we're going to look at coming up this week. But again, it still has, room to move to the top. They want to keep this going. And I got a line up there for around 5,200. It's not going to be a straight line, but we'll see until the bears can try to press them down, or until they want to start taking profits on some of these stocks, which they are way up in. And understand, to get up to 5,200, not much, guys. You can see right there, it's not a big movement, okay? And so, looking at QQEW, you can see it branching out. There's QQEW. Again, this one's already set all-time highs, still moving up, starting to move out of this formation right here. But when you look, I'm going to draw a horizontal line right here and see if we can come back down. We already retested it, moved up. You look at RSP, again, this one right here, sitting right there, almost at all-time highs. This is another one. You think they brought them all the way up here just to sell it way down 10%? Probably not. Okay, and this one only has like maybe 0.46% to go to hit that, which is nothing. And so, we'll see if we can break this one coming up this week or whatever. But again, it just means other stocks are participating. That's the reason why you want to track this. Tells you other stocks are starting to participate, not just the Magnificent Seven. Again, if you watched my video yesterday, what do you see Apple doing? Not looking good, right? They may bounce it back, but this whole rally has been taking place, and Apple hadn't been participating in how long? What, like a month, 2 months now? Hadn't really been doing anything. Now, the interesting thing about RSP is, will it double top again? As you've seen multiple times where this thing comes up, as I've showed you before, to set an all-time new high and ends up selling off many, many, many times. And so we'll see if that's the same thing that happens here. Now, IWM broke out of this formation right here. We said right there, that was the key level. And that's the key level that finally surged through right there. And when you look, it's in this volume gap, so this thing can continue to move, right? You got to look at 210 to be your next level to move. It continues to go up. I will show you why it's moving like it is, as a matter of fact, and show you why it could continue to move up as earnings progresses. But again, even to get up there to 220, somewhere in there, that's only about a 7% move. And so it's not a huge move, but, obviously I'd like to see this thing pull back down, really show that this is support now, right? Not break back down through it like we did on Thursday, but actually show this is support. But one reason you're seeing this happen, as I showed the members in the video, is because earnings are coming out way better than expected. And even if they don't, shorts are capitulating, right? Look at this. These are earnings. See the E's at the bottom? And then the ones that sell down to the right is the Russell 2000 stocks, by the way. Even the ones that sell down on earnings, they're recovering so fast. So it's like, not only you got earnings being better, and I showed you the EPS on it, you have shorts saying, we're out of here, right? They beat these stocks down, hammered them down, and now they're getting out. And what's really surprising is to watch IWM go on without regional banks. Obviously, we had more news come out about the bank in New York, I believe it is. It dropped like a rock. Regional banks are not that healthy. They haven't done anything, and I mean, basically the whole month of February, and yet IWM has been rallying without them. Why is that a big deal? Because it's 15%, almost 16% actually, of the Russell 2000 ETF. And so that whole sector has just been a garbage mess, and it hadn't bothered it a bit. It continues to go same way the SPY continues to go without Apple, okay? Now, NVIDIA is taken over as Tesla, right? Tesla, maybe it'll have its rally at some point in time, but the reason why I say it's the new Tesla is because it's right here. It was call sweeps. That's what moved Tesla the way it did for so long. Why it was the most highly traded stock out there. And look at this, NVIDIA. Look what they did yesterday. They keep doing this. Millions, over 10 million worth of sweeps come through right there around, what, 949, I believe it was. And you see it came up, dropped down, and it basically traded sideways. And these sweeps start rolling in, and boom, it just takes off. And as the market goes, now NVIDIA goes, or as NVIDIA goes, the market goes, it seems like, or semis in general. But this one, lit a fire on the market, and it just kept going all day long. You see SMCI finally break out of this little pattern right here after it wedged in there. It's actually up. I know Friday after hours it was up again because they're talking about it joining the S&P. Remember I told you it's gotten too big for the Russell, right? And then you got AMD. Look at this thing, just gone. I guess it was a report came out. One of you guys told me that said it was just a better bet than NVIDIA because of its price, really. But we'll see how that goes. Their earnings and their forward guidance wasn't anywhere near what NVIDIA was. But again, people see a cheaper price, they start going into it. This is all-time high, so there's no resistance above. Let me know in the bottom in the comments, what your projection is. But I said 200. That thing blew right through 200. So at 203, I think it closed. And so we'll see if this thing continues to move up. Usually NVIDIA is a little better than that. It'll move up, but you see how it trades sideways and consolidate, and it's a healthy move. I'm expecting that at some point in time. You see Palantir, same formation. You saw in IWM, same thing you saw in AMD, right? And so when it breaks right there, look at this little shaded area. I'm going to scroll over. That's an RTH gap. Can't really see it on the daily, but if you pull up an hourly, that's an RTH gap. So that's going to get filled pretty quickly, moving up to around 2650. And so 2703 is your next target if that happens, if it breaks this formation, which every other formation like this has been breaking. Once that breaks, I like a retest of 2709, and then you move up to 2917, or actually 2922, excuse me. So you mark that right there out as well. Now, Airbnb, watch this one because the trend is your friend until it's not. We seem to be traveling, right? All the stuff says we're traveling, and so this one's been moving up, setting higher lows, higher highs still. It just broke another key level, and so as this keeps moving through those levels, and retesting and bouncing, which is what it seemed to be doing, it fell multiple times on that level, finally retested, finally it successfully moved up, and that's what's going to happen. As soon as you see it test and actually successfully hold, you get a nice explosive move up right there. So still has momentum going to it. Again, if we keep traveling, which we seem to be doing, and people are going to start getting, the taxes back and everything else, maybe this is going to continue higher. I need to check on the seasonality of this one, though. You would think summertime would be the best, but sometimes when you think something's the best, it's not. But again, this is another one. It's not at all-time highs. It's way below all-time highs. And so you've seen them push these stocks up, right? If I told you Netflix is going to be where it's at or Meta was going to be where it's at probably a year and a half ago, you said, no, you're crazy, but you see what they do. Now, watch SHOP here. The reason why you want to watch SHOP is for one simple reason. That MACD is below zero and it's curling up. When it crosses, SHOP is a big, big mover because when the MACD crosses the zero line in either direction, it is a big momentum shift. Okay, it means bulls have taken over and it moves. And I mean, it moves like 50%. All right, and so just keep that in mind. Watch this one very closely. And I'll go back and show you a couple of these when I measure these out. Because remember, this one, you see sometimes it'll hit a trend line and get rejected. That support line's up there, but that support line's up about 90. Would you see that right there? 52% move on that one. Another one here is like 50% move. When it comes below or above that zero, that's when you got to watch this one. It moves like crazy. And so definitely pay attention to those stocks, and we'll see how the week comes. Let me know in the and so definitely pay attention to those stocks and let me know how you think the market's going to perform this week. Are we going to just keep raging up or not? Again, watch the NASDAQ composite for that retest and bounce. That's going to let you know semiconductors are going to have to keep going crazy. See if Apple bounces back. It's going to be a whole nother one if you watched my video yesterday. So I hope you guys got some out of it. Hit the like and subscribe button if you did, and I will see you tomorrow.